Gillette. No, 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 no. Yes, there is such a thing as bad publicity. Bad publicity counts as anything that deters your own target audience. No more, no less. I know what they were going for. A re-education of men. The indoctrination of new values into their target audience, using the power of the brand. However, allow me to explain why they failed. Let's start with something to juxtapose Gillette's campaign with. Let's take Nike, for example. I refer to their Sacrifice Everything campaign with Colin Kaepernick. They launched an advertising campaign that pissed everyone off. Well, almost everyone. People were boycotting Nike all over the internet. If you're a person who doesn't know of the campaign that I'm talking about, then here's a quick rundown, skipping over a lot of details just to give you some context. There was a football player who refused to stand during the Pledge of Allegiance. His reasoning was that he wanted to make a statement about the oppression of blacks in America. Thus, he didn't stand for the American flag. In fact, he kneeled against the American flag for the sake of raising awareness about Black Lives Mattering. As a result, a huge media controversy ensued. And Kaepernick basically ended up getting fired from the NFL. Not literally at first, but it was not good for his career. He basically ended his own career with the stunt. However, Nike still endorsed him as a public figure. So they launched an ad campaign with the slogan, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." Now, this pissed a lot of people off. Take military members, for instance. Imagine what that messaging says to military members who actually put their lives on the line to legitimately sacrifice everything, to risk sacrificing everything for the very freedoms that Kaepernick exercised to disrespect the flag to begin with. Now, the issues with African Americans is another issue unrelated to this video. My only point is that there was a figure, a public figure, who represented a message to a target audience. Then Nike took advantage of this in a very controversial way. However, Nike wasn't hurt by the controversy. In fact, they made even more sales as a result of their advertising campaign. To many SJWs, Kaepernick is actually a tragic hero archetype. According to his narrative, he sacrificed his career in a stand against oppression. This didn't deter his target audience, it galvanized his target audience, his following. If anything, it tripled down his street cred with the left-leaners of the country, especially the African Americans, who are by a statistical majority a left-leaning population. In doing so, Nike wedged itself into the hearts of a steady community with a set political narrative. Outside of that community, however, it doesn't matter how many people Nike pissed off. As many people outside of the narrative can boycott Nike as much as they want. The more detractors outside of that community spoke against Nike, the more Nike's fan base grew loyal to Nike. All the anger against Nike outside of the community by people who didn't share the SJW beliefs just added to social proof, just added to the pathos of the brand, proving to Nike's majority audience that yes, it really does stand with them. They're in securing more sales. FYI, I don't support Kaepernick, Nike, or the SJWs in general. I don't own any Nike products. I am a military veteran and I served in the Middle East twice. And even though I do occasionally travel to other countries, such as the fact that I'm currently residing in Spain, I proudly stand by the American flag when I'm called to. And I support my fellow countrymen overseas. I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance when it starts. In this video, I'm only analyzing what's gone on in that community with my knowledge and marketing strategy. And even though I know I don't look like it at first glance with my dreadlocks and all that, I know I'm completely out of regs. If America really needed me in a wartime scenario, I wouldn't even hesitate to shave it all off and to go back a third time. And my wife supports me too, not this Gillette nonsense. Now, there's a huge difference between how and whom Nike pissed off in contrast with what Gillette did. Nike primarily pissed off people who weren't a part of its core fan base. Gillette did. Gillette downright insulted its core fan base. Meanwhile, they used advertising that would appeal to mainly people who wouldn't even buy from Gillette in the first place. The prepubescent boys that feminists are trying to brainwash don't know any better. Meanwhile, they're not old enough to grow beards worth shaving to begin with. The feminists themselves don't need to shave their faces. They're women, unless they're one of those really scary feminists with the testosterone imbalance. Those do exist, actually. but they're the hyper minority of Gillette's audience. Or they're gender fluid people or transgenders that are transitioning to being women anyhow. I refer to my work on launching an effective paid advertising campaign. You don't try to re-educate your audience. You don't tell people what to believe in your advertising. You sculpt your brand and your advertising to what a target audience already believes. Just like what Simon Sinek said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, when he was explaining the effectiveness of Apple's advertising. So the subconscious question in Gillette's target audience's minds was this: why are you doing this, Gillette? We see what you're doing, we just don't buy why you're doing it. So the moral of the story is, yes, there is indeed such a thing as bad publicity. Bad publicity comes in the form of whatever exposure would estrange your target audience, the people who will actually buy from you. Never ever seek controversy for controversy's own sake. That's bad. It's the same concept as learning the rules of something before you decide to break them. There's got to be a clear, articulable reason why you're pissing people off that proves a strategic point to your target audience, not piss off your own target audience for controversy's own sake. Because now that Gillette's done that, sure, they're in the media. Everybody, if everybody didn't know about them before, everybody knows about them now, but not for the reasons they wanted. We're here today to pay our last respect to this Gillette razor. It was a good brand, but the cancer of third-wave feminism now I'd salute, but I don't have a cover. Goodbye, buddy.